right. So, first of all, Happy New Year to everyone watching this. I'm very excited to have with me not only two great and dedicated chess players, but excellent human beings. I have Roberto Montañez and Omar Mills. And basically, this is just the beginning of, I want to call it, we're going to decide on the name after. I want to call it like an experiment. So, we're going to be training on a weekly basis. I'm going to be meeting with them every Thursday. You guys are going to have access to whatever we discuss in those meetings. And then they're going to have a weekly training plan that they're going to follow throughout the week. When we meet on Thursdays, it's not so much to have a lesson, but for me to see what they're doing. Hey, you're doing this. I'm looking at your games. I like the way it's going. Roberto, for you, I see you a little bit. You're not making progress in end games. Let's change your end game distribution. Omar, you're doing great in end games, but your tactics are not where they need to be. Let's do more tactics this week, and so on. So I want to do it. I really believe that if you have a training plan, like static, it's good. But with you guys, I want to do like a more personalized thing. Like every week, we adjust it. Like today, we're gonna go over the first week you're gonna work on. I'll tell you how to go about it, and then on this Excel sheet that I'm gonna make bigger now for everyone to see, you're gonna have different tabs. So week two, then I'm gonna post it at some point before week two starts, right? And I'll try to just adjust it depending on how you guys respond. And we go like that. The goal, we wanna do it from January until May or so. And that's gonna be like 16 weeks or so. And we'll see where we are. This is not about improving grading, it's not the number. It's about getting stronger. If you get stronger, rating is going to follow your strength. And of course, one of the main things that I expect from Roberto and Omar is feedback all the time because I think I know what I'm doing, but I might not really give them what they think because we're all different. Maybe I think Roberto needs more tactics, and he's like, you know what? I don't think so. I need this, and that's the point that we meet and we talk and we discuss and we improve on areas that we need to. So that's that for you viewing this. Ideally, you'd follow the training plan. I'm going to give you more information on how you can access it as well. And then you could meet with us or actually see the videos after of our weekly meeting. And I don't know, I'm inviting you to do it together with us. Of course, I'm going to be focusing on Roberto and Omar, but I know you're going to be giving us feedbacks if you're doing this with us, if you're riding this journey. So, Roberto and Omar, feel free to give us a quick intro about where you are, what you want to do, and any questions you might have for me.
Roberto,
All
you can go
right.
first.
All right. Thank you, Omar. So, Roberto Montañez, I've been, I know Robert for about a year and change now. So, Robert has been fantastic. I met him, I think, like most people, through YouTube. Um, as a chess player, I am around 800 elo, and I feel like I play like a 1500, but on the board it looks like a 800. So, uh, but no, and I think that's what I'm looking for. It's just a structured way of investing my time. Like most adult learners, we have a limited amount of time to invest. So I think I'm looking forward to maximize this. And I know, Robert, you're a great coach and a great instructor. So I'm looking forward to in this journey with Omar as well.
Perfect.
Yeah, for me, man, similar, similar thought pattern on what I want to get from something like this. Robert, first of all, just thank you for the opportunity. Uh,
No, thank you guys. Thank
like,
you.
like Roberto, I discovered you through YouTube, and then had the pleasure of actually meeting you at one of the events. And really, just I've always wanted to learn from you beyond the video. So this is a huge privilege for me, to get to work with you and to train with you. As for what I'm going to take away, like the from a rating perspective, I feel like I've sort of stumbled my way to a particular online rating that I can't sustain.
Hmm.
And I think it's just been, I guess, some part, training, some part luck. I've done a lot of volume play, and so anything that I've picked up and learned has come because I've done it a bunch of times, because I have played a massive amount of games, and you're going to eventually pick up something. But what I'm realizing is that you'll have it for about 10 minutes. It's kind of like if you hit a crash diet. That's probably like the closest equivalent I can say to my chest. My chest is like a diet that you'll look good for about 5 minutes on the beach, and then the minute you eat carbs again, you go right back, to what you were before. So I've had some games where I've played terribly, and then some games where I played amazingly. I had an old coach of mine tell me that I had great instincts but horrible tactics, and so I've got a puncher's chance, in some cases, but not consistency. And
Okay.
that's what I want to be able to get. In fact, as I was kind of peeking at the training plan, I was like really taken aback because I almost flipped this on its head in terms of what I do. I do a ton of games, and I saw one day you had designated for rest, and I was like, rest? What? We rest? What is that? Right. So I'm really looking forward, man, to seeing how you break
Great,
things.
great, great. And actually, one thing that I want to stress is the rest. And you're gonna see it not only throughout the week, but inside the training sessions. I put like 7 minute rest, and a lot of my students, honestly, they don't care about it. But I really, like I told you, I was telling you at the beginning. I don't expect you to do it like step by step, detail by detail, but the closer you do it, the better. So maybe you don't want to rest 7 minutes, maybe five, maybe 10, but let's try to do it like that. And also, it's your responsibility now, guys, to do it as disciplined as possible, because people watching, they're gonna be like, okay, if they did it like this, I'm gonna do what they did, better or worse. So it's gonna be also information for, because my objective, for everyone, full disclosure, the benefit of doing this project for Omar and Roberto is they get the training. For me, it's just to share it with you. Of course, I'll probably get some revenue from YouTube, but honestly, it doesn't justify. This is mainly to share with a lot of people who are on the same boat what they could be doing, right? Because it doesn't matter how much I tell people, do this, do that, they won't do it unless they have people doing it like you. So hopefully they see this as motivation, and they're like, you know what, let me do it with these guys, and at least they get something done. So let's get to it. I'm going to go ahead and start sharing my screen. And the first thing that I really want to point out is this training plan. It is designed for no more than 5 days a week. Now, if you look at the training plan, you probably guys have it open. I have week one. Day one, we have the work that we have to do. We're going to go over the details later. Then day two, we have the work that we have to do. Then day three, the same thing, the work that we have to do. And then day four, it says rest. Now, then we go to day number five, we have the work, day number six, and then number seven, we have rest again. Now, ideally, you do it however it works for you. If you're an adult, you're busy. So these 2 days that you have rest in this week, it could be like I put it here, or you could say, you know what, I can only do chess Monday to Friday. That's going to be my 5 days. I'm going to rest Saturday and Sunday. Now, something that I really want to stress is this doesn't mean you cannot do any chess on those rest days, but just not this training. Like this training, when we do it, it has to be strict, like we're planning to do it. And then this is when people tell me, oh, but I enjoy opening so much. I read 5 books a day on openings. Look, if you did this already, you want to do something else, fine. Just don't overdo it. Really embrace the rest. If you can afford to do it, if you're just really into chess and you want to play, fine. But training, this is it. After that, you could do whatever you want. Um, Something that I also wanted to stress is you can see, for example, on day one, I gave you here rest for 7 minutes. Just do it. It helps. You're doing an activity before you switch to the next one. Take a break. Just get a drink, talk to someone, come back. And it's like when you're playing a game, I always tell my students, if you get to a critical moment or you're calculating, something doesn't add up, just stand up from the chair, go get some water, go to a bathroom, come back to the game after, fresh eyes, and it might help. So that's something to think about, the rest. Now, let me go to this other document, which is a Word document explaining the amount per exercise and so on. All right, so in this part, in this document, we have time per exercise. as you saw in the training plan, the actual training plan, I'm going to tell you if it's about tactics, if it's about calculation, if it's about endgame. And of course, I give you the timing there. But you don't have to go exactly what I'm telling you. But one thing to keep in mind is when you're doing tactics, you want to do the exercise for 10 to 15 minutes. We need to keep it at margin. And by the way, I told you, I'm going to change this on a weekly basis. Maybe on a week, I'm telling you, hey, instead of 12 minutes, let's do 8 minutes, 7 minutes. And the point of doing this timed is when you're playing a game, and you know, Omar and Roberto, you have played over the board tournaments. You cannot afford to spend 15 minutes or 12 minutes every time you're going to calculate. You're going to run out of time. You're going to run out of energy. So we have to, in training, aim for 6-7 minutes when you're calculating this. And that way, you're playing the tournament, you have 21 minutes left. You could say, you know what? Let me calculate this variation. If it doesn't add up, well, I do this move that I like instead. But I only spent 7 minutes. You just cannot afford to do that, right? So that's per tactics, 10 to 15 minutes. When it says positional end games, we're going to do 15 to 20 minutes. Calculate variations, 15 to 25 minutes. Now, very important over here, solutions. What I expect from you when you work on the exercises, you're not going to look at the answer right away. Probably not even the same day. You're going to write it down. So you're working on this exercise. I spent 12 minutes, like Robert said. This is what I think the answer is. I'm going to write it down. When we meet on Thursdays, we're going to be meeting every Thursday. Then we're going to go over the answers, only then. So it's going to help us with your memory as well. You're going to be probably like, oh, I did it 4 days ago. I forgot already. Well, fine. It's part of that memorization. Very important, if you do it with me, if you do it on your own, if you ever train on your own, whenever you're looking at the answers from a book with me, you want to spend close to the same amount you spent on the exercise. So if you calculated here for 12 minutes, or you were evaluating, looking for a plan for 15 minutes, when you look at the answer, don't be like, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, fine, I saw it. No. Really spend time there. Okay, why is this move here? I don't understand it. What does the book say? Nothing? Let me go to the engine. Engine, why is this move not good? Like, question the things. Don't be an automatic pilot. So any questions about this, the solutions, the time?
Yeah. So a few questions here.
Okay.
So I just gonna focus on day one as an example. So
Okay.
I'm referring to that as day one block. I have a series of exercises.
Very good.
I need to do them all in one sitting, right? That's how it's prescribed. So I start with the warm ups and I do exercise 1, 2, and 3. Not one in the morning at 6 a.m., one at
No,
7.
no, no. No, this is like, let's think about it as if you were going to the gym to work out. You're not going to go, well, maybe some people do, but in my mind, you go to the gym, you do push-ups or pre-workout, and then you do an hour of whatever you're going to do, right? You want to do a circuit, you want to do whatever you do, back and biceps, but that's it. That's your workout of the day. You did 1 hour of workout. So ideally, it'll be in one sitting. And part of it is that we need to train as if we were the same way that we play in a tournament. You know, if you play an over the board tournament, you got to sit down there for 2, 3, 4 hours. And it's very important. I haven't talked about it. We're going to talk more about it in the future. But at some point, you're going to feel like, I don't want to do this today. I had a difficult day at work. I'm having trouble with my wife, whatever. That day, you got to do it. I'm sick, whatever. You got to do it. Because that's going to help you when you're playing a tournament game. You have been playing for 3 hours. You're tired. Well, you're going to be used to saying, you know what? Now that I'm tired, I got to push harder. And I'm going to do it. So very important, Roberto. If it gets tedious, you have to do it. You have to do it. Now, maybe you don't want to do it, but ideally, that'll be the way to go about it.
One more question. When on day 2, when we have to play games, do we have a specific amount of games that we have to play? What do you suggest there?
Well, honestly, it would take you an hour for that exercise, for that activity, right? So I put here, initially I had put 2 15-10 games because that would give you around an hour, right? But I don't know, maybe this game goes longer. So that's why I put games. So ideally we'd do an hour of rapid, not 3 hours, not 5, just one. I'm thinking ideally 2 games, right? And notice how I put here, and that's a great question. Notice how I put 15-10 games plus scan. I didn't say analyze it, and I don't want you to analyze it in detail. This is not the day for it. So when you're done with your game, what you're going to do is, and let me see if I can. Okay, so I'm on chess.com. What I'm going to do is, you know, when you or evaluating a game, or it could be just anywhere. You know how they have the bar, right? You finish the game, they tell you analyze, or you could just, I mean, review, or you could go to analysis, and there's a bar telling you the evaluation bar, right? So this scan is about you guys. And let me actually share this with them. Where is it? Is it here? Okay, I think I'm doing it. Yeah, perfect. So I'm going to activate the evaluation bar. So let's say I played a game and I'm just going to scan. And scanning means I'm going to go over the game, and whenever I see that bar, do a drastic change. So maybe someone, I don't know. So I'm doing a few moves on the board. You guys are not seeing it, but whenever I'm looking at the bar and the bar goes like whoop, like maybe 0.5, 0.6, I want to take a look at it. Oh, what happened here? Someone dropped a pawn. Someone dropped a piece. I want to make sure that I look into that specific moment. Did he drop a piece and I didn't see it? There was checkmate into moves and I didn't see it. Only that. Don't be move by move, trying to understand every move. That's not what we're looking for. I don't know if that answers your question.
Yeah, more of a
Yep, it
cursory
does. Thank
review.
you.
Exactly. Just a quick, yeah, something superficial. And then when we meet, that will be your moment to say, "Hey, Robert, I had this game. Can we go a little bit deeper?" Or also, Roberto did something great. He has on chess.com, he created like a little library and he's putting games there. So that's something that you could do also, Omar. And then when we meet, before we meet, I review some games, and then when we meet on Thursday, I already have some games selected for us to go over.
Gotcha.
But to answer your question, Roberto, yes, just 1 hour for that. If you finish the 15-10 in 10 minutes, you want to play another one, fine. But I just don't want you to give me 2 hours of playing rapids. No, just 1 hour. If you get a game, good. If you get two games, good. If you get a crappy game, that's it. That's your day. That's your game. It's like a tournament. You cannot say in the tournament, "Hey, I didn't like this round. Give me another round." No, that's it. You messed it up. So that's that. Now let me keep going. If you have any questions, you let me know. Omar, any question about this A and B? I'm going back to the
No, you're answering them before I can ask.
Okay,
Hardest thing
okay.
is be not playing a ton of games. That's gonna be the hardest part.
Well, whenever you feel, and it's gonna happen, it happens to me too. You feel like for me, you know how chess.com is giving you now the end of the year review or something like that.
Oh, yeah, I saw
So
that.
I looked at mine and I played like 4,000 something games in the year.
Oh, that's it. Oh man, you can step that up. No,
Get out of here! No, but I was thinking that gives me around 10 games a day or something like that, right? Some of them, of course, are from live streams that I play more, but games that I play probably around 9, 10 a day. And sometimes I'm like, I want to play a few more, but then right there, when you feel that urge, you're gonna be like, let me do some tactics. Let me read a book. Let me watch a video. You're not gonna play more games. That's it. It's really, really important. And I heard this advice from Grandmaster Abatik from Chess Mood. He once told me, we were doing an interview like this, and he was like, "Oh, I like my students to do come to play with a number of games in mind. So don't no distractions. It's like close your door, make sure you are in a good moment. It's not like, oh, I'm doing groceries and I'm playing. No. Sit down. Today is Friday. I'm gonna play my games. I have a couple hours. Kids are sleeping. I'm gonna play 7 games, 9 games. That's it. It's like when you go to a tournament, you're gonna play this amount of games. If you lost the 7 games, it's not like, oh, let me play a few more to see if I get one game and then I go to sleep. No. 7 games. You had a horrible tournament that day. That's it. If you won them all, great. I had a great tournament today. So you gotta see them as tournaments every single day that you play. So to me, that has been I'm doing it and I can see the benefit of it. So that's that. Solutions. Now, if you think very important, if you think you found the answer, let me make sure that you guys can see that. Yeah, if you think you found the answer, look at it from your opponent's perspective. I really want to minimize, and it's inevitable, but I really want to minimize these situations where you're like, oh, I think this is the answer. I found it. Let me go to the next one, or I'm done. No. I think this is the answer. The guy cannot stop the checkmate, but let me make sure it's right. Let me look at it from my opponent's perspective. Can I find a defense? We really cannot be training and be like, I like it, go with impulse, let me go to the other one. And then when we meet, it's like, Omar, come on, man. They had this very easy move to stop the checkmate, right? So it's always going to happen, but we really have to make an effort to avoid that, okay? I don't know if that makes sense.
Makes perfect sense.
All right. Then we have, when done reviewing an exercise, go back to the initial position and rerun everything in your head. Very important. There are two main items in your training, guys, at the level that you are right now. Or Roberto, what's your rating? I didn't get to ask you.
Yeah, so I think in my intro I said 800, but I just checked on chess.com. I'm at a 928, so you know.
Roberto is just as crappy. It's just the same. 800, 900. Don't be now like.
It
Man,
is. It
let
is.
him have the
Come on.
928, man. Hating. Let him have this.
For
Yeah,
chess player,
don't be
we
like. Don't know. You're in the same boat,
we
man.
we care more about elo than income. Okay,
Yeah,
it's like
man, let me have my points. Let me have my peak rating. That's all I have.
No. Just messing with you. All right, so 900. So for
yeah.
you guys, the main thing that we want to improve is the tactics. But within the tactics,
Yeah.
there are two main areas, and we're training here for this rating, so that I mean not for this rating, for this level, so that if you only reach halfway, that's already good for you to improve. So I'm gonna try to push you as much as possible, and then even if you don't get to where I want you to get, it's gonna be enough for you to move up definitely. So the two main elements are gonna be calculating or visualizing. That's why I tell you, you found the answer, go back, like you look at the answer, you did it over the board, fine. Before you move on to the next exercise, reset the position and be like, okay, I know the answer already. Let me just run it in my head just without moving the pieces. And even if you do it wrong, if you do it consistently over and over, at some point it's going to become easier and easier. So that's going to help us with that. The other element is you guys being able to find 2-3 move combination quickly. It has to become a reflex. And this is why, Omar, you were saying I feel like I'm doing something wrong. A lot of the students that come to me for personal training, I always tell them, you never do what kids do. If I pick up a 5-year-old, the first 3 6 months we do mainly tactics. Like really, it's not like, oh, I read a book. No, like really struggle. They're doing tactics, like really hustle tactics. And in 3 6 months, if you compare that to an adult improver who's just watching videos on YouTube, reading a book, but they never really put the time to do like this 1 hour of tactics, and it's getting tiring, and I keep doing it. If you never put that, you're not gonna catch up. You're not gonna do it because you're gonna know more strategy. You're gonna know more about chess history, but you cannot find a checkmate in 2 moves, in 3 moves quickly. So that's the one thing that we really have to focus on.
And
Go ahead, go ahead.
Robert, I think that's the essence of having this training plan because what I find interesting is when people say, I don't have time for training, but
Mhm.
when you look at it, they spend 3 hours every day playing chess.
Yes,
But it's just spending that time in a way, like with a training plan like this, it just gives me a structure of the minimum baseline that I need to do to improve.
Agreed.
absolutely. And well, you know it. You know how easy it is to get to Sunday, look back, and you're like, oh, you know what? I only played games this week. I didn't do my end games. So if you have the training plan, at least it's gonna make you keep that in mind. You have to have it in writing. So absolutely. Very important. You finished your training today, right? Tomorrow you gotta train again. When you sit down, before you do anything of what I put there for today, go back and review what you did yesterday. I'm not saying redo the exercise. Just look at it. Okay, this exercise, yeah, I remember it was about this, and this. You don't have to do it again. You don't have to go over the every move. Just see what you did last time. Try to remember it. Oh, I did this exercise on positional chess. I think the essence was this and that. Good. Just a quick refresher. And then you start training the day. I don't know if that makes sense, guys.
Yeah, that makes sense.
All right. Remember to rest when indicated. I put it here a different color because it's really important. Rest. If there's a day to rest, just rest that day. If there's a 7 minute rest in between, do it. Just get a coffee or just sit back and relax. Just do it. Or just close your eyes. Scan. I already explained it. Just go over the game with the engine on and pay attention to the changes in the evaluation bar. The pre workout, very important. Almost every time you're going to have a pre workout, which is a puzzle rush, 5 minute puzzle rush. This 5 minute puzzle rush, I'm hoping you to do it casually. You're not trying to get a high score. You're not trying to get them all right. You just want to get your head, your brain thinking about chess. Just do a few. Just open puzzle rush. Just do it. I don't care if you do 5 or 6. Just casually try to really understand the tactic. Oh, I found it, but I really found it. Fine. You got warmed up, and then you start working on it. Now there's a post workout, which is the same thing, 5 minute post rush, at least for this week. That one you want to do it really to get a new score. You really want to try hard on that one. And by the way, feel free. Don't be like Robert said only one. I'm gonna no. If you do one, you have time, energy. You want to do two, three more, fine. Now don't give me 2 hours of post rush, but you could do two, three, fine. And I'm not gonna put this kind of pressure on you, but ideally you want to improve that number at least week over week. Like if your pulse rush, last pulse rush this week was 15, the next week when you're done with the week, the last pulse rush, it has to be at least 16. Now, not a big deal. Don't be like, oh, I'm a failure. I didn't do. I mean, that's gonna be our pressure to keep pushing. About pulse rush, everyone I tell them pulse rush, they tell me that's a waste of time. The first 10 exercises are a piece of cake, just made in one. And it's very important to keep in mind, if I review every single game you play, every single game I play on chess.com, every game, almost every game, is decided because of a simple tactic like that. Back rank checkmate, eliminate the defender, capture a piece, to move things. So if you don't do that and you only do your regular puzzles, let's say you're 2200 and you know, especially on chess.com, they're really inflated. Like my tactics on chess.com is 3400. Come on. And then when I do those tactics, they give me exercises at that level. I almost never do anything that is simple. 2, 3 moves, no. So you're going to get rusty when it comes to those simple tactics. And again, most of my games are, I didn't see the 2 move combination. I didn't see the 3 moves. So that's where this comes in. And this is all another element that we need to get really good at. The simple tactics. Roberto, to get past 1100 or to get past 1000, it's just tactics, not dropping pieces. Vision of the board. There's a 2 move combination, like take the bishop, and then the knight was defended by the bishop is hanging now and capture it. Those little things, it has to be automatic. There's just no way Roberto's going to get to 1200 if he doesn't see those things. It doesn't matter. He could know everything about weak squares and the isolated pawn, but if you don't see a 2 move combination, that's it. It's not going to work. So that's it. Pre-workout, post-workout. Any question about that? All right. I'm going to assume no questions. Now, quickly here before we wrap up, going back to day one on the actual training plan. You have the puzzle rush that day. Then you have an exercise that I put there for you. I'm telling you how much time you're going to spend, 50 minutes. Then positional, you have 2 videos. These are from the YouTube channel. Even if you saw them, guys, go over again. Just like with a book. You could read a chess book and you learn something. If you read it again, you're going to learn something again because probably you missed something or whatever. Just do it again. So that's going to take you like 25 minutes just watching those videos. Feel free to take notes. Then you rest. You go to the next exercise, and then you do the post rush to wrap up. That's it. That's going to take you 15, 31, around an hour, close to an hour. If you want to just play 1 or 2 games after, fine. But the training is complete at that point. I gave you the PGN of the exercises. If there's any trouble, you can contact me, but it should be, I already tested them. They're good. It tells you who's to move. Day 2 is just playing the 15-10, at least for this week. Day 3, you have exercises. Okay, over here. Day number 3, exercise number 7. You have chess.com, tactics, custom puzzles, mates in 3. I don't know if you guys can see that.
Yeah.
Yep.
Now, I'm assuming you know how to get there on chess.com.
Yeah,
now,
you can set the range and
exactly.
set it up.
And notice that I put you here, the range is going to be 0 to 2200. Now, if you're doing it, and I put here 30 minutes, this is very important. I want you to keep track of how many you do in 30 minutes. Just how many you do. And that's something that we need to improve on. Maybe the first time you do it, you do 3 exercises. Fine. Eventually, we want to be able to, in 30 minutes, do 5, 7, 8, 10. And again, imagine we get to the point where you can find 3-move checkmates quickly. Like, and number one, you're getting exposure to patterns. But also this calculation, man, imagine if you can calculate 3 moves. Just calculate 3 moves quickly, like a reflex. Forget about that. That in itself is going to get you to 1500. There's no doubt in my mind. Maybe you guys never get to that point, but 2 moves you can see very quickly because you've been pushing for 3. Boom, that would be great.
Yeah.
So this is, I want to say, one of the most important things that you're going to be doing. 3-move checkmates. Go ahead.
Question.
Yeah, go.
I'm familiar with the 32 move checkmates, but for this one, but but no, seriously.
I think you're in the wrong. You're in the wrong, Nicole.
But for this exercise, so on custom puzzles, you do not have like in regular puzzle rush three and you're done. So here we want quality, so we're going for accuracy. But as I'm doing this, I will have wrong, uh, the puzzles. I might get it wrong,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
It keeps a tally of that. So do we want to just continue or do we? Because I can have 20 wrong ones in 30 minutes. It would never stop
No, no,
me.
no. Listen to me. Listen to me.
Yeah,
Remember, in the first document, I told you when you do calculations, you want to spend this amount of time per exercise. So
got it.
you're supposed to spend around 10 minutes per exercise. So you're gonna, if you don't see that clearly, it's gonna be three exercises you're gonna do. 10 minutes, one, I couldn't find it. Let me look at the answer. Fine, let me go to the next one. 10 minutes, couldn't find it. Let me go to the next one. Now, what could happen is you think you found it and you didn't find it. Now, if you do also what I really stress there, I think I found it. Let me really see they don't have any surprise, they don't have any checks that delay this instead of three. And it's gonna be 3+, by the way. I put 3 minutes, I mean 3 move checkmate, but on chess.com it says 3+. It could be 3, it could be 4, it could be 5, right? So keep
Correct.
that in mind. But maybe you got it right, you think you got it right, and you didn't find it. You calculated. Even if you calculated nonsense, you calculated there. You put in the time, and when you look at the answer, you're getting that pattern recognition. Oh, you know what? I didn't find it because I was not familiar with this pattern. Now I am. Fine. We get the benefit of those 10 minutes, and then you go to the next one. But just make sure you allocate it. If you guys spend 3 minutes and you think you already found it, beware. You're probably missing something. All right. Now, another thing that could happen here is sometimes chess.coms for certain patterns, they don't have many exercises. So maybe you're doing 0 to 2200, and at some point, because I might give you the same thing for 2-3 weeks, you're like, hey, I've done this already. Maybe expand the rating instead of up to 22, maybe to 24, and so on. But those are the only issues you could have with that. Make sense?
Makes
Yep.
sense.
And by the way, those who are watching, for you guys, I don't care if you do the 3 move checkmates on chess.com or Least Chess or from a book. I just want 3 move checkmates. Like I don't have it. Well, I think I have it here. Wait. All right. So this book, as you can see, basically has 9,000. Probably it's upside down for you, but it's 9,000 chess exercises, and they go from mate in 1 all the way through main in 9. So what I've been doing is I sit down. I have a day of the week that I just do. I'm doing right now mates in 6. I actually tweeted one the other day. I just sit down. I set it up on the physical board. Just checkmate in 6 move, calculate, and I give myself 7-8 minutes. If I get to the point where I can do 6 moves in 6-7 minutes, imagine when I'm playing my games in the tournament. I can calculate 6-7 minutes, even if I'm in time pressure. Great. So I'm aiming for that. Probably I'm only get really proficient at 4 moves. Fine. I'm okay with that too. That works. So that's what I'm expecting from you guys. And eventually we're gonna bring it up a notch. So that's about the mates in 3 or 3+. Any questions?
No,
All
sir.
right.
Sounds good.
So then day 4 rest. Let me see. Oh, okay. Day 5. I put here openings. We're gonna do 25 minutes. I really like the idea of taking a break in between these. Like break it into 25 minutes, you take a break, and then you do the other 25 minutes. Now I put here my chessable course because you guys are already doing it. If you're watching this, whatever opening you have, it could be a chessable course, it could be a book. Maybe you have already a repertoire on a book, on a notebook, on chess.com libraries, on Least Chess Studies. That day you're gonna review that. You're gonna be like, let me just go over my lines. That's what you're gonna do. 25 minutes, take a break, another 25 minutes. I didn't put it here, but ideally on the days that you do this, not ideally, but one thing you could do is you could say, you know what, this position from my openings that I'm not comfortable with or that I really like, whatever, I'm gonna set it up on the online and I'm gonna play it against one of the bots from this position. I played the Rui Lopez, move number 7. I like this position. I want to get some experience. Nobody plays it when I play online. Let me force one of the engines to play it against me. Could be a medium strength engine, just to get experience with it. One thing that I can tell you is I've had opening lines that I just cannot memorize. I review it 20 times. I don't memorize them. But then one day I played in a tournament, I get destroyed, and I will never forget it. So it's not the same when you just go over like I'm just reviewing it fine. To when you're actually playing it in the game and you're trying to find solutions to problems and you get destroyed, you will never forget that line. So something to keep in mind when you do that. So that's for openings. I put in there the pre-workout and post-workout. The puzzle rush, you throw it in there. It's just 5 minutes, 5 minutes. It's not much. And then you do your openings. Day six, tactics. Okay, end games. Okay, very important. On day number 6, you can see exercise number 9. I think I did a typo there. That would be 10. Let me fix that. So that would be 10. And then this is 11. Okay. So day number 6, you have chess.com. No, wait. Endgame. Okay. Exercise number 10, chess.com, tactics, custom puzzles again. But this time we're going to choose pawn endgames. And the rating range is 1800 to 2000. Here, I'm going to give you the liberty to play around with that. You could do less if you feel like these are too complex, maybe 1500 or 1200. It doesn't matter. I just want you guys to give me 30 minutes of pawn endgames, nothing more, just the simple endgames. I don't care who you are. If you're under 1500, your endgame is not even good. It's not good. And you're going to be messing up these simple king and pawn endgames over and over. And mainly because by the time you get to the end game, you're low on time because it's the end of the game already, and you're low on energy. So this has to become a reflex. So just get them done here before you ask. You don't have to take notes. Just look at the answer. Just like the 3-move checkmates. If you get it wrong, look at the answer. What did I mess up? Oh, here. If you don't understand anything, go to the little engine thing and activate it. The engine will tell you, this is the move because of this, 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 this. But we need to do king and pawn. I don't need you to find a book on endgames and read it. No. I just need you to get good at king and pawn endgames. So that's that. Number 11 is the same thing the maze in 3. That's it. I don't think there's anything else here that is complex or that you don't understand. But let me know, guys, any questions?
Yeah.
Yep.
So for the
All right.
end game,
Mhm.
and you know I'm gonna have always questions. So Omar, I
Absolutely.
apologize
Absolutely.
in advance. um, so I know, looking at the whole week, I get to the end games. I do have some understanding like king and pawn end games or queen and king because I watch your videos or in chess.com they have really condensed lessons.
Yes.
But let's say that I get to this point, I'm struggling. Would you recommend then maybe after I finish this to complement it with just an understanding? Like I do the end games, I'm like, man, I'm really struggling with this. Maybe I need to learn a little bit about king and pawn. And do you recommend maybe just watching a 10-minute video of understanding the fundamentals?
Yeah. The whole point of that, the king and pawn endgame session, is for you to improve in that area, right? So anything you could do is gonna help us. Or it could be, hey, let me call a friend of mine who's good at this. Let's talk about it. Anything, right? I put it. I really like the chess.com. What is it that they called? The drills. I like the chess.com
Yes.
drills because you get so many different positions and it's the same principles there. And look, when it comes to king and pawn endgames, and by the way, when we meet in person, I'll tell you more about things to help you with it. But king and pawn endgames is about either a passed pawn that you're gonna get to the end, or an active king that will take pawns to get your own pawns passed and get to the end. It's all about that. So I just need you to see that over and over. Man, this is the 20th exercise that I get wrong, and he was just pushing the pawn to get to the end. I tried to get all of his pawns when I only needed one of mine to get to the end. Just see it and see it and see it. So you do that. Maybe you watch one of my videos or you watch one of the chess.com videos, and then you're like, oh, of course. Now it makes sense. I already did 200 and it makes sense. This is what's happening to me. So anything, Roberto, that could help with that. Like I'm giving you something to guide you through it, but feel free to look for other resources. The same thing, I'm putting here my videos on strategy. And maybe when you go to the video, you're like, you know what, this video is about isolated pawn, but I like how this guy explains it better. Let me look at this other guy on YouTube or this other book. I don't care. But I just want you to cover that subject. Just make sure that you have it under control. Okay.
Nobody explained it better than you. That's a fact, man.
I was expecting you to say that. I was like, say it, say it. No. But that's a different discussion. But we're all different. We learn differently, and someone that you like that really connects with you. Like, look, comments that I get sometimes on YouTube is, "Man, you talk too much," and I understand. Some people just prefer give me the meat. I don't need the repetition. Other people right below that comment tell me, "Thank you so much for repeating the same thing 20 times. I really need it." Right. So just find what works for you. But I think, guys, we have the first week already for you to work on it. You have my number. Those of you who are viewing, you can only access me via the comments on YouTube. But you, Roberto, and Omar, if you have any questions, send me a text or send me an email, and we go from there. But I think you have work, and again, this is not set on stone. We're gonna adjust it week by week. It's week by week. We changed it, and also, my wife was asking me, what if one of them struggles more than the other? Well, I'm
Are you
going.
looking at it?
Well, no, it could happen. So I'll just be like I told you at the beginning, hey, Omar, you're gonna be doing the same things, but for you here, it's gonna be instead of 15 minutes, give me 20 minutes or 25
That's
or 30, right? So we go with that. But to be honest, if we just do this, even if, like Omar said, even if you do it wrong, there's no reason for you not to improve. If you just take a basketball and you go to the park every day and you do 30 minutes of rowing, you're gonna get. There's no way you're not gonna get better.
right.
So let's say there's no pressure here. Just really trying to put in the work, and and again, even if your rating doesn't show it for certain, you're gonna be better. We just don't know. Like I tell my students, you're gonna get better. We just don't know when it's gonna click. It could be in
Correct.
2 months. It could be in five. It could be in eight. We don't know. But anyways, any questions for me before we wrap up?
No, sir.
All right, all right. So then again, happy New Year. Sorry, I think it took longer than I thought it was gonna take like 20 minutes, but this is my
20
fault.
minutes. It's been like an hour and 20 minutes.
I knew I shouldn't have gotten into this, but no. But honestly, I want to make sure that you have it. And besides, this is Roberto's fault. He's asking questions, but no. But honestly, I like what we're doing, guys. Again, thank you for being part of it. I have another
No,
student of mine who wanted to do it, but he's in Qatar, so different time zone. And he's like, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to commit. And I was like, look, then if you cannot commit, don't do it. And he's like, yeah, I understand. So he's gonna do it at his own pace. But yeah, let's see how it goes. Let's see how it goes.